July, 2 weeks ago, I also said that, the political bickering must, I think, to a large extent also come to a stop, provided if the people of this province can become the real beneficiaries, especially when it comes to opportunities and the funds that are being allocated to this beautiful province of ours. Now, be as it may, the time to skate clean again has come. The DA in the Northern Cape agrees with the Premier that new brooms must sweep clean the dust of corruption from the Northern Cape. We want to help him to honor his commitment, and that public funds will be spent to the benefit of the public, not to the politicians. We therefore urge him to appoint independent forensic investigators to investigate the latest scandal surrounding the Kimberley Diamond Cup. Instead of shining bright with opportunities, the Kimberley Diamond Cup has now been reduced to the coal dust of dirty deals. Killing the corruption that has skated out of control with the Kimberley Diamond Cup is one of the fastest ways to ramp up economic growth in the Northern Cape, and we will send a very strong message that the time has come that this government must start walking the talk. And once again, as a DA, we will support any government, we will support any Premier, we will support any MEC who is prepared to say, let us fold our arms, let us rather make sure that we dirty our hands and we do the right thing. Because I think now than ever before, everybody would like to see things happening differently in this beautiful province of ours called the Northern Cape. As was announced by the Northern Cape Department of Economic Development and Tourism, a few hours after we've sent out our media advisory about the Kimberley Diamond Cup yesterday, we know that the Premier is set to launch the festival for this weekend, but he can only go ahead with his launch if he is willing to be a blesser of corrupt, a lord of the looters, and a protector of the predators who prey on the public purse at the expense of the poorest of the poor. Zamani So told me in no uncertain terms that he is prepared to tackle the bull by the horns. And I'm prepared to help him to do that. We as a DA are committed to help him to do exactly that. But then, once again, I want to ask the Premier, here is your first taste. The taste of every pudding is in its eating. You've got an ideal opportunity to show to people of this province that you are going to walk your talk. And then indeed, people of this province are waiting with bated breath to see that what you have promised the people of this province is going to happen. We have heard and we have seen many premiers before and now. And once again, I think, because one can see that there is a will in order to do things differently, but the will can only be manifested if we start acting against people, especially politicians and officials in departments who wants to use the public purse as if it is a personal ATM credit cards. This needs to stop. This must stop, and it must stop now. Colleagues, I'm surrounded also here today by my colleagues. On my extreme right-hand side, I've got Dr. Ellen Grootboom, who is also a member of the legislature who came back from the National Parliament. And I'm pleased to have him also here today because I think he can also help us and rather augment us also with his knowledge in as far as education and other aspects are concerned. Next door to me here, I've got Advocate Boitumelo Babuseng, who is also a returning member and who is also the main speaker of the day, who will also be speaking in more detail and in more depth regarding this issue that we are here for today. And on my left-hand side, I also have Renette Liebenberg, who is a new member, a lot of experience as a former councillor, and somebody that can also add value to the DA caucus, and I'm extremely excited to have Renette also as part of my members who will be serving together with me for the next 5 years. On my extreme right-hand side there, I've got Fauzia Rauda, Fauzia Roda is also a member of this caucus, and she comes with a wealth of experience from Coxta, and where she served also as a deputy director for many years. And I think Fauzia's presence here in this caucus will also add a lot of value, more especially in Coxta, because that is her forte, and also the department which she got in-depth knowledge. We have already started seeing yesterday how Fauzia started demonstrating the in-depth knowledge that she has over the number of years when she interacted with the Department of Coxta in order to hold the executive to account. Colleagues of the DA, welcome here this morning. I would also now like to take the opportunity to give over to my colleague, Advocate Baitumelo Babuseng.
Thank you for coming, colleagues. You would know in the past we had what we call the Maluf Cup. That event also had a pungent smell hanging around it for many years. You would also remember that the owner of that event recently posted on Facebook about the reason why the department did not want to sponsor the event anymore. It was because of corruption. The CFO of the department wanted money from him. The then acting HOD wanted money from him. In fact, everybody wanted money from him for that event. And now we have a new event called the Kimberley Diamond Cup. The Kimberley Diamond Cup has also a pungent smell hanging around it. Why do I say so? When you look at the company that has been appointed as a service provider for this mega project, and by the way, it cost about 90 million over a period of 3 years just to run the event. This project was advertised or gazetted in January 2018, and the tender closed in June 2018. But under mysterious circumstances, it was only awarded to a company called HRNA 336 days after the tender closed. I mean, you would know in terms of supply chain management policy, the PFMA, and legislation related to procurement, that a tender, once you put a closing date for a tender and you don't announce a tender or a successful bidder within a stipulated period, that tender would automatically lapse. In this case, it didn't lapse. It was simply resuscitated 336 days after the closing date. But I now know why. When you look at HRNA, the company that was awarded this tender, it is linked to the CFO, Kuberan Pregesani. We have it on good authority that the owner of this company is a friend to the CFO of the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. And when you look at what happens after this tender was awarded to HRNA, it was awarded on the 19th of May this year, immediately after the elections. And then on the 30th of May, a company, somebody registers, Kuberan's brother, Komalan Prekaseme, registers a company, FISE, Africa, on the 30th of May. That company, immediately thereafter, now becomes a partner to HRNA. When you look at the media advisory of the Department of Economic Development yesterday, it says FISNE will now power the Kimberley Diamond Cup. Power meaning it's going to play a significant role in managing that mega event. So colleagues, this is a patronage network, or what one calls a corruptive collusion, because what we actually have here, you have HRNA as a middleman channeling funds to a company that is connected to the brother of the CFO. I shudder to think of what the Premier would say on Friday when he opens that event on Friday, especially when regard is at what is contained in our press conference. Remember, before that, I just want to show you a picture. We went to conduct an investigation. You can pass it around. We went to conduct an investigation on the premises of HRNA. You'd see there on the picture, there's a trailer branded with ANC election campaign material. So that is the premises of HRNA. So it puts it beyond doubt that this company is a politically connected company, is connected to the ANC. And I want to put it on record here. I have therefore came to a conclusion that this company is channeling money to the ANC. That is why this company has been awarded this contract. That is why Kuberan and some officials, Kuberan is the CFO, some officials in this department have engaged in corruption with impunity because there's a link to the ANC. And I find it difficult to understand why would the Premier or the department immediately after we sent our media advisory, they then did the same thing to counter our media advisory to say the Premier will open that event on Friday. That is arrogance. What they are simply saying, they are showing taxpayer the middle finger, irrespective of what the DA say. I mean, a reasonable Premier or MEC would have waited for the DA to conclude the press conference first and maybe learn from what transpires from the press conference before they send out their media advisory. Now, this is a test for Zamani Sol. Zamani Sol had spoken at length about rooting out corruption. Now, we are calling upon Zamani Sol to take this matter seriously as somebody that has says over and over and time again that is going to clean as a new broom in the provincial administration. That he must call for a forensic investigation into this tender. The CFO must be suspended because you know there's matters before Hawks and the NPA that involves the very same CFO. And I don't understand why is this CFO so powerful? Why can't this CFO be charged? I don't understand. But the answer is the picture that I just showed to you, the political connection to the ANC. So we will not rest as a Democrat, as the DA when it comes to corruption. The Department of Economic Development, it's a corrupt department. You know there was a Bosco horse-racing event. We've laid criminal charges against them. I'm advised by the investigating officer of the Hawks that the matter is now being referred to the NPA for a decision. So that department is rotten. The new MEC is not going to change their department. And we will not also rest as the DA when it comes to exposing corruption in the department. There are still more matters that will emanate from that department that is currently in our possession. But we will let you know, and when the time is ripe, to expose the corruption that is in that department. Thank you very much.
In addition to that, colleagues, I think at the moment, we take it at face value. We don't want to cast any aspersions. I'm saying, Premier Zamani Sol, we want to help you. We want to help you to speak on the issue of corruption. But you can only get assistance if you ask for assistance. Here, he doesn't need to ask for assistance. That's quite obvious. We say to the Premier, step up to the plate of your promises. Show to the people of this province who is in charge. For now, we don't have any doubt to say who's in charge. But let's walk our talk. Colleagues of the media, we would like to take questions from you.
Leader, sorry, before the question, sorry, just one point that I did not raise. The requirements for this tender. The requirements, it's contained in the press release and also in the proposal. Tarina, if you can make the proposal available to them. If I can just read it out to you. The request for proposal says eligibility, event management service providers and project management service providers with verifiable experience of managing mega events and action sports development programs to promote tourism and economic development for the benefit of communities. I mean, when you look at HRNA, the only time when it had a so-called a big project, it's a 3.7 million project. And it was from the Education and Training Development CETA. So it does not qualify, it does not meet this requirement because evidently they don't have the necessary experience to run a project of this nature. That's why they went to make an arrangement with Fees Africa. And when you look at Fees Africa, it does not have the relevant experience. And in fact, it has never engaged in mega projects or in events management project. So what we have here, you have people who does not meet the requirements of the request for proposals. Thank you very much.
We will be circulating this document around as well. In fact, I think we can even give you this document, an electronic version of this document, just for ease of reference.
Just for clarity, an electronic version of that bid requirement document, got a photo of the photograph, will be circulated with our press release.
Okay, great stuff. Okay. Thanks for that.
And then the other thing, when you look at these two companies, HRNA and Fees Africa, they share the same address. We've circulated this to you. They share the same address. So it also proves our averment or submission that this is a corruptive collusion. This event and this tender has been arranged a long time ago. It's a collusion between these two companies and the Department of Economic Development and by extension, the ANC. Thank you very much.
We can also accept that at the time when these initiatives have started, Zamaniso was not the premier. We can accept that because this is something that is coming on last year. So having said that, for what it's worth, I'll keep on saying, here's the test. Colleagues of the media, we would like to take questions.
What could you be giving charges in relation to this tender that you say is so corrupted?
Other members?
What's the expected outcome? What would you hope the expected outcome to be after the investigation?
Well, maybe let me respond to those ones quickly. What is the expected outcome? Well, one would have expected the Premier to do the honorable thing, to say, hey, wait a bit, let's stop the bus here. Let's stop the bus. Here the DA comes with evidence to say that we smell a rat. And the rat that we're smelling is, we can present to him, like we do to yourself, to say that here's something fishy going on here. I would have thought that and that is the outcome that one would expect for the Premier to say, let us suspend this thing over this weekend so that he can actually familiarize himself better with what is going on here. Because you must also understand, I'm taking it from the premise that the Premier is innocent in this thing. I take it from the premise to give him the benefit of the doubt. He would actually stop this thing for this weekend not to take place and say, this thing will be stopped until further notice, so that he, as a Premier, can familiarize himself with the content of the allegations that the Democratic Alliance are making. On the issue of, are we going to lay a charge? We've laid charges before. And I must also say, of all the charges that I laid for the many years to date, I'm starting to ask myself the question, is it really worthwhile to lay charges? And I'll tell you why. I will qualify. I was never subpoenaed one day to go to court on the allegations that I've made, with all the evidence that I've submitted. But in the interest of the people of this province, I will do that again if I have to do it. Yes, indeed, we will. We will never shy away from that. Are there more questions?
Just in relation to these allegations, this current one, when was the last criminal charges that you laid against? Like when was it?
In fact, I can give you a copy of all the ones that I've done previously. I think it actually answers most of the questions. I've got it on the top of my desk, not only to you, but to all the media people, so that they can see the trend of all the charges that we've laid to date. And none of those ever appeared in a court of law.
And if I may just mention, we are faced with a serious problem when it comes to laying of charges. You see, the problem is when you look at the hawks in the Northern Cape, and I want to put this bluntly, it has been captured, and one should not shy away from saying it. That is why our cases do not see the light of day. And we will expose the provincial hawk structure when the time is right, because we are starting to receive evidence that some of these guys are compromised and they were captured. And I think the time has arrived that we must expose them. We must expose the provincial head of the hawks. We must expose the rotten apples in the hawks. And then when it comes to the expected outcome, Yes, it must be cancelled. My leader is correct. This event must be cancelled because there's evidence that the law was not complied with. I think that should be the starting point. That I don't see why a premier that professes to be a new groom, why would that new groom want to go to bless an event that is unlawful? Because what a premier would be doing there by opening that event, he will be acting in furtherance of an unlawful conduct. Because that event by its nature is an unlawful event because of non-compliance with supply chain management. So I want to say to him, if you go there, Zamani, and open this event, you are becoming party to an illegal event and you are acting in furtherance of a common purpose of unlawfulness. So that would be my caution to him, that the event must be cancelled. He mustn't go there on Friday to go and open the event. But I know he is going to open the event on Friday. He's going to open it because he wants to prove a point that the DA will not tell him what to do. He is going to open the event on Friday.
I must also say this to you before I take your question. I will not be surprised, and I'm sure my colleague will not mind saying this. I will not be surprised if we're getting threats again this afternoon after this press conference. But I want to tell those people, whoever they are, they must stop being cowards. They must come out. They must stop being cowards. Babu Seng is getting threatening calls, and so do I. The threats will not stop us. We will not be the first people to be killed. I can show it to you. We have laid charges with the police. Because every time when we investigate and when we expose corruption, then we get sinister messages, calls at night, etc., etc. We want to say to those nameless people, come out, man. Because your threats and your whatever you want to do is not going to stop us. I will not be surprised if we're going to get threats again today.
And we are used to it now.
We are used to it by now.
It's part of, it comes with a package.
Yes.
Can you forward it to us, Monica? Or forward previous one? Or just like a screenshot?
Well, you see, at the moment, yeah, well, I'm sure we can do that. I need to ask the investigating officer first whether we can do that.
Okay, but if you get ones today,
Yes.
after then maybe we can, because that's not being investigated.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my question is, the Premier said that this outsourcing, and he does, I read that he said detenderize. So why can't officials, why can't the department themselves organize an event like this? Do you think we have the capability, or should get the capability, or force officials to do more than just collect their salaries every month?
Well, you see, ideally, that would actually save the public purse a lot of money if these things are being internalized. Because by virtue of giving these things out on tender, there are so many discrepancies with tenders. And I think to a large extent, it will also be able to have a more controlling mechanism. Because the thing is in-house, that's internally, you know exactly what your costs are. By virtue of putting it up in a form of a tender, there are already costs involved of a third party. So that is why, ideally, I would definitely support that. To say that each and every department, let them start doing this kind of things all by themselves in-house. By so doing, they will have better control. By so doing, they will be able to answer questions to the Auditor General with confidence. Because whatever expenditures they have incurred, they can, by the pickup of a phone or by the tip of their fingers, they can respond to questions. I would definitely think that that could be the ideal thing to go. But another thing is, do we have the political will? That's another thing.
Yeah, because they can organize all the departments.
Yes,
events.
exactly.
Like his mining company or his construction company.
Well, that's a topic of another day. And as the DA, we've got a view on that. But we will actually speak on that one in more detail when the time is right for us to speak on that. Are there any more questions?
And just to add on the question, on what you said, you see, why is it necessary for government to fund these events? We fund Diamonds Endurance, we fund this project. I mean, when you look at the GNB Met in the Western Cape or Durban July, they are not government funded. They are government supported, but not necessarily government funded. Now, in the Northern Cape, it's the other way around. You know, the Soweto Jazz Festival, it's not government funded. It's somebody, an entrepreneur, they decided to be innovative and come up with an event. In the Northern Cape, it's the other way around. We have a department of, not of economic development, but of projects for a corruptive collusion. So the department must start now looking at innovations where it gives entrepreneurs an opportunity to go and source funding for themselves in order to have these events. So everywhere in the Northern Cape, your Calvinia Flay Spheres, for example, even though it's not entirely government funded, but at least there's a portion of money that goes into those events. We must encourage our entrepreneurs to go and source funding. We've got mines in the Northern Cape, we've got mines. Why can't these mines support and fund these events? I mean, we had Kumba, it has pulled out because of corruption. But my idea is that let's train our entrepreneurs in events management in order for them to go and source private funding to have events in the Northern Cape, and not government funding, the Diamond Cup, the Bosco race, horse racing event, and the Kimberley Diamonds Endurance. So the taxpayer is actually funding all of these events in the Northern Cape.
Okay.
Have you also investigated the directors or links between actual aid trading and then either the CFO, the department?
Look, it's a friendship. I'm reliably informed that Prakasami and Munchusi are friends. If you have time, just go on the Facebook page of Munchusi, the owner of HR. Yeah, you will see his ANC crony. You will see the ANC regalia, how he supports ANC. But what we have here, when you look at the form of this arrangement, you see HRNA, and when you look at the substance of this whole arrangement, the form would deceive you. If you look at the form, you'd see no HRA is benefiting. But when you look deeper at the substance, it's actually Feast Africa that is the biggest beneficiary of this whole thing.
How do we spell that Munchuni?
It's M-U-C-A-H.
C-H.
Yeah, C-H. It's M-U-C-H-U-S-I-E.
Are there more questions? Well, colleagues, in the absence of additional questions, we are still rushing also for other Mandela Day events today. On behalf of the DA, I really would want to say thank you very much for coming, and thank you for gracing us here with your presence here today. It was an absolute pleasure having you here this morning. Good afternoon.